Welcome to episode 79 of the Brew Crew Scoop. The Brewers have sold off, quote unquote, another piece of the playoff roster from last year. We'll discuss that in heavy detail, and I'll get all our reactions. But the Brewers sent out third baseman Caleb Durbin, top three finisher and rookie of the year last year, as well as Andruw Monasterio and Andrew Seigler to round out the whole third base depth of the major league team. They just got rid of it. And a comp B pick. Kind of curious. We'll talk about that too. But um, to the Boston Red Sox, they received left-handed pitcher Kyle Harrison, left-handed pitcher Shane Drohan, and infielder, I believe mostly middle infielder David Hamilton. So for former Brewers farmhand as well on him. Couple of interesting lefties, guys who haven't always had crazy eye-popping stats, but they have good stuff. And when the Brewers go and get pitching, you like to trust that they know what they're looking for, that they can fine-tune to really sharpen the repertoires and have them find success in a Brewers uniform. So, immediate takeaways. What do you think about the Brewers trading away their young, budding third baseman?
It's funny that you say that because there's a lot of people that are saying, he's on the right trajectory, and why would you trade somebody if the Brewers' whole thing is like controllable assets, and you had a proven controllable asset that's usually who you're trading for. Um, but I think, I mean, I told you guys this already, but the Brewers probably just assume that he peaked. They must believe that there's only he's on the way down, I guess. There's no more rising to his game. So he's going to be good defensively, but if you can get, I mean, and then Seigler, um, he's obviously a nothing burger. And then you obviously give away Monasterio, who is, kind of a folklore. He's just a hero in terms of the name and how he's been around for so long and never had a real starting role, but could play basically second, short, and third. But the comp B pick is honestly the most. That's, I believe, our small market pick. So that's kind of just a tough one to give away. And it seems that the Brewers believe that these comp picks are just expendable. That's um, a couple of times I think that they've sent one out, and then they received one as well in the Burns trade. So it's nice in baseball to see picks being traded. I think that's kind of cool. But my hot take is I think Kyle Harrison has a chance to be a dude, and
I don't
the
think it's a
Brewers
hot
just
take either, Keen. I agree with
I
you. I think
I
there's
think
some fans that apparently think Caleb Durbin is on a MVP track, but no, I agree with you. Just so you know,
I
you're
mean
not alone. You're not alone.
he was I you look at Twitter and it's not a lot of people saying like Kyle Harrison. It's all about losing Durbin, and I look at it as you're gaining what once was a highly touted prospect, and the Brewers have a proven track record of getting the most out of those types of guys who have failed in other organizations. I mean, look at the Quinn Priester trade just from last year. He was in Pittsburgh as a highly touted prospect, and then with the Red Sox, and then came here and dominated. That's just last year and from the Red Sox. So I have full trust in the front office. I really like Kyle Harrison. I liked him when he was coming up with San Francisco. Um, so I really like the trade. I hate it because it's Durbin, and I think the Durbinator was just kind of a fan favorite, but I really like Kyle Harrison. I have no problem with this move.
I understand where people are coming from with the fact that the infield is so thin, and the third base has always, in recent memory, been kind of a soft spot in the lineup. But, and the fact that we have tons of starting pitching options, so I get where people are coming from. But yeah, I don't see Caleb Durbin having many seasons better than he had last year. Um, it felt like, I even saw something about how he led the league in hit by pitches. I think he said he led the league. Like that's like a total luck thing, essentially. So I don't know. Look, again, I love Caleb Durbin, but at the end of the day, let's face it, Monasterio and Seigler. Monasterio had some cool moments, but those two are really a nothing burger to me. The comp pick is a little puzzling, I guess, but they must really like these arms. So sucks to see Durbin go. I don't think he's going to be a perennial 900 OPS guy. So I think it's okay if we think that we found a number three starter for the next however many years. Plus, who knows? It seems interesting that we chose to attach a pick, I'm assuming to get that second arm. I would imagine that's kind of where that came from. So if we value Drowan more than a second or third round pick, we must see something in him that we really like. So he showed some flashes of good pitching in AAA last year.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say he's been injury riddled too, so I mean you're not gonna see you can't look at last year's stats, so really interested to see. He's kind of a wild card here, but I from what I've read from Brewers like farmhand geniuses is that there's quite a decent profile there.
Yeah. I was gonna say I have a little bit of a background on some of the guys, but first, as much as I'm excited about Kyle Harrison, I don't want it to sound like I'm happy Durbin's gone. Obviously, he was great last year and panned out, I think, better than anyone probably thought he could have in that year, and I think that's probably why the Brewers did what they did. Is like we said, kind of a sell high. It Not to mention the organizational depth. It puts us in a tough spot this season, perhaps. But even by next year, there's a number of guys that appear like they should be ready for some spot in that infield. So um, I think it's worth the risk to get our hands on Kyle Harrison. And then to add to it, David Hamilton. I think he's mostly played up the middle, like you said, Scoop. From what I was seeing, it was pretty much all short and second. But he has 55 steals over the last 2 years, so a ton of speed, more than I think anyone pretty much we gave up. Um, and I mean, he had 3.6 WAR over the last 2 years in 189 games, but he did not hit very well last year, and that's true. But I think he probably will hit a little better than he did last year and can fill in like a utility role and be a little more speed. And we know the Brewers like to have guys on the bases who can swipe the bag. Um, Shane Drohan, like you said, he's 27, so he's definitely not a young prospect. Originally drafted by the White Sox, originally drafted by the Red Sox, then stole by the White Sox in the Rule 5. Then he got injured, and had shoulder surgery, and the Red Sox reacquired him. And last year in 12 games at AAA, he threw 47.2 innings, had a 2.45 ERA with a 12.7 K per nine, and I think 98th percentile whiff rate. So he was super nasty in AAA last year. His fastball sits right around 94, and he throws kind of that three-quarter lower arm slot, like Harrison sort of does as well. But his slider looked really good. Drowan, that is, in the minors last year. I guess it was a newer pitch for him, and then he has a changeup and a cutter as well. Um, yeah, and he's been pretty nasty, and a lot of the Red Sox fans were talking like he was going to make their team, and whether he was actually going to or not, had a lot of hype, and that's a pretty deep rotation. I don't think he's going to be in their rotation. He's going to be in their pen, and it'll be interesting to see how we utilize all of our lefties, which I'm sure we can talk about later. But can't have too many MLB quality arms, so he seems like a good prospect. And then Kyle Harrison, you guys hit on it, but he was. I think he was literally the top left-handed pitching prospect in baseball at one time, and like a consensus top 20, top 10 prospect. So since then, he hasn't really even been bad at the major league level. He just hasn't been great. Like he said, around a 4 ERA, maybe a touch higher. And some of his accent pitches just haven't got the swing and miss I think that it has in the minors. But I believe that the Brewers are going to be able to unlock that. But that mid 90s fastball kind of rides, again, a lower arm slot. Um, yeah, I think it'd be kind of silly to complain about getting a guy like Kyle Harrison, especially, I mean, imagine a year ago, right? Kyle Harrison got traded for Devers, actually, which is funny. But and since then he pitched well in the Red Sox minor leagues. They just had a lot of young arms too over there. And we saw what Durbin turned into, but I don't think anyone expected him to be better than a top prospect in baseball. And I still think that's in Kyle Harrison. We saw it last year in Quinn Priester, different types of pitchers, but both guys that had a pedigree, and we've so far done well in locking those. So um, sucks to see Durbin go. Curious to see the stopgap probably for that last infield spot, but I think you got to capitalize on value. And regardless of what trade value whatever.com Twitter, whatever that page is called, says. I think we probably won the value battle here. So
I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
it
oh,
sucks
go
to
ahead,
see.
Scoot.
I was just gonna say it sucks to see Durbin go. And he definitely has value as a controllable young player. But at the end of the day, player where the ceiling is the highest in this deal, I think, is Kyle Harrison. I don't think there's any question there. So
is
that's
that a
the answer
short
to the
joke?
question. If you're wondering why, yeah, yeah, exactly. That's if you're wondering why we did this deal, that's why.
Yeah, I was gonna say Caleb Durbin had a 721 OPS as a rookie, and everybody talks about how great he was defensively. Well, to be able to have great defense and play every day and get a high WAR, you have to be able to contribute offensively. And there's a chance that the Brewers thought, you can't have so many options that are so great at defense, while not or so great at defense and not being able to contribute in the batter's box. So I'm interested to see how he does because obviously, if he does not perform well offensively, he will not be playing defensively. So then there's not a lot of war to be had. So I saw that argument where it's like, how can you get rid of somebody who's had such a high war as a rookie and finished third in the NL Rookie of the Year? Well, you got to perform offensively to get that high war, to be in the lineup every day, to have a great defensive F war. So really interested to see how his sophomore season goes, and I'm rooting for him. I mean, I loved Durbin; it was my girlfriend's favorite player. So sucks to see him go. Glad to see Seigler go though, and sad to see Monasterio go.
Notably too with Durbin, one of the few bats in the short playoff run that seemingly was always putting together a good at bat and performing, especially in those um, Dodgers games where it seemed like we just sucked at every facet of the game.
Also, I would like to point out about Durbin is that he embraced um, kind of the grind of Wisconsin more than anybody. He played with the Fond du Lac Dock Spiders. I'm sure every Brewers fan knows that by now, but he really went back to his roots there and helped them out a lot. Somebody who was also in the Northwoods League. That was pretty cool to see, and he obviously didn't have to do that. I know him and Pat Murphy were in Fond du Lac like a week and a half ago for a dinner, and I'm sure the community there hates to see him go, and I heard he's really a good guy. So
He's a
Boston got a good
fib.
one.
He's a fib, though.
He was at a Packers game too, to your point, Kean, and we just saw him at our alma mater, Parkside, at a baseball dinner
Yes, he
with
was the first
old,
pitch dinner.
his old Fondy coach there. So.
Yeah, no, that was super cool. It sucks to see him go.
I guess I don't know if you guys have anything else to add on the trade, but I said my piece about Kyle Harrison. I have high hopes, even though the numbers haven't been flashy yet in the major leagues. I don't know what to think about Drohan being injury riddled and not crazy good numbers, but just a little bit of footage I could find on him. Seems like a four pitch mix, I believe, and looked like some fairly sharp stuff. And once again, that pitching lab, I have full faith. And also, once again, I have full faith in the Brewers organization to make the right trades. So, I don't have anything specific to say on him, but I'm just excited generally, just based on our track record. And then the only thing I was going to say about David Hamilton, there's a good chance that he's nothing more than Andruw Monasterio, maybe a little better, but a couple numbers that popped out. 2024, he played 98 games, but he accumulated 2.6 B WAR, just shy of a 700 OPS. And then in 204 career major league games, he is 57 of 68 in stolen bases. So must be pretty quick. That's a pretty good clip right there in a short amount of games played. So yeah, that's my takeaway from the package.
Yeah, and I
One
think I was gonna say it's interesting some people have kind of acted like he'd play third and maybe that's possible, but he hasn't really done that in the majors. So it'd be interesting to see how we deploy, I guess, what we have if it stays as is. But with his experience at short and second, obviously like Ortiz has played third in the past. So I'm not saying we're moving off Joey Ortiz at short, but um, yeah, he's got a little bit of that versatility, and I'm sure we'll work on him at third base so he can cover the spots Mona would.
one last thing on Drawn. Did you see through the Twitter experts who they compared him to? I'm sure a lot of Brewers fans would
Is
not
he on the
be.
Brewers?
Yeah, he's on the Brewers right
Is
now.
was he
Is
another
it DL
player
Hall?
traded in the last 2 years? Is he another lefty? I saw DL Hall, so who did you
I
see?
saw I saw Ashby
Hmm.
just because
Uh,
he's got that kind of hammer curve.
I like the
Um,
concept of Aaron Ashby.
Yeah, except
I don't
he
like
doesn't
the Aaron
throw as
Ashby in
fast.
yeah, he
practice.
doesn't throw as hard, but it was the
Yeah.
curveballs. It was the pitch mix, I think, was the biggest thing. But I just thought that was funny.
So notably too, uh, the number one third base prospect in baseball is currently Andrew Fisher, the Brewers' funny comp pick from last year, right? I think he was or no, he was our first rounder. That's right. Burke was the comp pick from the year before. But so we technically have the number one third base prospect in baseball, although he's probably a year away still. And then the number nine third base prospect in baseball is Brock Wilken, who guy missed some time last year, but I don't think he saw Nashville yet off the top of my head, but he was tearing it up in Double A when he wasn't hurt. So maybe see Brock Wilken. Also, we have about 17, I think was the number I saw, potential starting pitching options for the rotation. So I saw us being linked to the Astros. I don't think it was officially, but just speculation. Team who could use some pitching, maybe make some sort of a trade there. I saw us potentially linked to maybe an Isaac Paredes. So a move could be coming, and
Uh,
maybe at the end of this, we turn one of these pitchers into a better third baseman than Caleb Durbin somehow. I don't know.
I was gonna say too, aside from the guys on the third base lists, we also have a couple relatively soon MLB ready shortstops. It seems between recently acquired Jet Williams can play some short, yet to be proven if that's at a major league level, I guess. But could be Jet Williams or Cooper Pratt, maybe at short, and Joey Ortiz over to third, if we don't make an acquisition. And I guess if we want to talk about the new roster outlook, I personally would be a fan of Luis Renfigo or Ramon Urias, I think is my main one I would
Rengifo.
like. Renhefo. Yeah, I always fuck it up. I don't
There
care.
you
If
go.
he's on the Brewers, I'll learn it. Ramon Urias. He's been a pretty consistent player, generally even around like a league average bat, can play third, short, or second pretty well. He's not his brother. Um, and he's still available. And that might not be the sexiest name out there, but it actually is because there's like no third shortstops uh, available. So um, that's kind of my pitch. And then if we want to talk about tradable assets, we can do that. But I don't know if you guys had anything else in the immediate term.
Just gonna say that if we're looking at other top 100 prospects for the Brewers that are not technically third basemen, but to your point, Jesus Mate, Luis Pena, Jet, like you mentioned, Cooper Pratt.
Yeah,
So those
I
are
just
all
figured
top
the
65 guys right now.
timeline for Mate and Pena probably aren't this year,
Yeah,
but
probably
that'd be
one more
something.
year. Yep.
I did see that they're going to keep working Sal Frelick at third base during spring training as well. Um, so as dumb as that is, or it might be, maybe I'll be eating crow later, but I don't think that's the solution. But he's going to get reps there during the spring, so something to keep your eye on.
Yeah. Scoop, I don't know if we want to talk about it, but I kind of wrote down some of the rotation options and I was wondering if we want to speculate who we want to see or maybe who's the most disposable out of that list.
Sure, let's
So,
hear it.
we got Woodruff, Miz, Priester. Those are the three, I think, locks. And then it's a wide range, in my opinion, of Chad Patrick, Logan Henderson, Gasser, Sproat, now Harrison, as well as probably not as likely, but Carlos Rodriguez is still there, still on the 40 man, I believe. Coleman Crow recently acquired Drohan, and I don't know if that's it. There might be one other player, but I mean that's more than enough to choose from already. So I guess my take is it seems like C-Rod's just not going to make his way onto this team. So if
Yeah.
there's a market out there anywhere for a Carlos Rodriguez, Tyler Black, Tyler Black deal, they'd look really good in Rockies uniforms. So
Yeah. I think Chad Patrick, for a while, I was really thinking
yeah,
he's a
he was
sell
so good in the
high.
pen,
Yeah,
though.
I was thinking he was a sell high guy, and then I don't know. After that playoff run, I think I kind of want to keep him around. seemed like a guy who was unfazed by the
Yeah.
moment, which
Seems like the front office likes him too.
and on top or outside of that, I don't know, does Robert Gasser maybe fit the bill there? He's the least proven but biggest question mark right now of like a guy who could maybe net us something. I don't know that Aaron Ashby is going to convince anyone to give us a starting third baseman. Keen, what do you think?
Uh, I really don't like Gasser in terms of our rotation, but like you guys said, if you could get something for C-Rod, Tyler Black, Gasser, I think Ashby has some more value to us than I think he does anybody else.
I don't know if that's
Um,
true anymore. We have
I,
so many lefty arms now, and I was actually thinking there's a chance they'd want to get rid of him because he's due almost 6 mil this year and almost 8 mil next year, and then he's basically gone because I don't think we're picking up $11 million options on a lefty reliever. So I figured if someone would take him at that, we'd probably want to get rid of his money anyways.
you're
That
right
I
there. I
agree with
agree,
that. I
but
just don't know that he's going to net us anything.
Yeah,
I I see him as valuable because the Brewers signed
yeah.
him to this deal. He fucking stunk. He got hurt, and now he's actually providing you value of what you paid for when he was injured and terrible. So it's all yeah, it's sunken cost, but I mean, he's here now. He's performing well. He performed well in the playoffs, even though you started him 6 times in 8 days or whatever it was. But I view him as valuable. I also think that he's a high leverage arm. Those don't come. Yeah, Drohan or whoever could replace him in the pen,
I
but
mean, we have Koenig, we have Zerpa now, who's another
K-
lefty. DL Hall, I
Koenig,
think will be better.
you
The
can't. The way that I've said this the last couple of years is that once somebody has 1 or 2 good years in the pen, that third year is tough. And Koenig is going on that third year. I mean, look at Payamps, Piguero.
Well,
I mean,
why don't we get ahead of getting rid of Ashby then? Because he had a good year last year. This year might be
year
good. So then
two, year
next year,
two,
but then next
next
year
year
is
he's gone.
okay.
It's
Okay.
year three. Year three is when you got to look. Bullpen arms from the last couple of years of the seven and eighth inning guys, you have 2 good years where you throw 70 innings or 80 innings and 65 to 70 appearances, and then you just don't have it anymore. It's just kind of the life of a reliever. So I'd be interested to
Yep.
see if Koenig can continue that success. Obviously, he'll get the chance to prove himself. Um, but I'm always interested to see that third year for relievers and how that goes. But back to what Scoop's point was, if I wanted to see my rotation, obviously the three you said, and then I do like Chad Patrick, and then I don't think you traded your starting third baseman for a reliever or somebody who's going to give you long relief or start in AAA. So I think Kyle Harrison just kind of shoe horns in at the five.
So
he'd be the
I,
Henderson,
he'd be the only
Sproat,
lefty.
Gasser, not in the rotation. Out of
and
those
how
three, then who? I mean, I guess we're not dealing Sprout right
So
away,
did you
but
say did you list Hall and Henderson earlier when you mentioned
I
this?
didn't
Logan?
list Hall because I don't think Hall is going to be a starter.
No, that's fine. I just was looking at the 40 man now.
Yeah,
Logan
I said Henderson.
Henderson could, I think, make some sense.
I think before the trade, it seemed like he was had a pretty good shot at five, but now it seems like it's a
Yeah.
3 to 4 man battle for the last, well, a 5 man battle probably for the last two spots, in my
Um,
opinion.
and then Keen, the way you emphasized or you stretched out the Drohan of that last name, I'm totally calling him Drohan Santana if he has a really good first outing. That just made me think of that. So
kept telling myself, don't call him Drawn, and then I did it. So
yeah,
it's
that's fair.
whatever. It's like when you tell yourself not to say something, then you
Who
just fucking do
knows?
it.
I may have heard it wrong on Twitter videos today, anyways, when I get my pronunciation too. But yeah, I think frankly, it's got to be Henderson or yeah, Ashby. If Ashby nets you anything, then yes, that makes the most sense because he's the only one making money and the only one who doesn't have 7 more years of club control.
Yeah, I
Yeah, that's
think
the other thing I forgot to
I
mention
wrote
earlier.
down some tradable assets, I guess. Really quick, I'll just go through it. In the sense of guys that I think the Brewers could move is I said Ashby just because of the money. I don't know what he's worth. There was rumors about McGill. I don't think anyone wants to see McGill go, but he's last year, Arb is next year. He's gonna make almost 5 mil this year. And we know how relievers work, but I don't want to see him go. It's just there is a market for him. So see what happens there. Contreras is similar, but I don't think we're moving Contreras. But similar in the case of we're running out of control years, and he's not getting any cheaper. But I think he's here staying. Garrett Mitchell was an interesting one, but he's already in ARB too, which is interesting because you wouldn't know it by how often he's played for the Brewers. But he's also not even making $1 million in ARB because he hasn't really played. So he's not like expensive, but if there's a market for a guy like him, and I think there is a productive MLB player in there for sure, I'm sure the
And
Brewers would listen.
Jet might play some center field. So
And
that
Blake Perkins can
doesn't
still play a
yeah, that doesn't
positive
help
center
our
field.
third base situation. But if Jet
No.
Williams is playing center field, then that makes Garrett Mitchell all the more expendable.
Yeah, and it's none of these names are guys necessarily I want to see go. It's just guys that it would make a little bit of sense. I actually wrote down Koenig just because he's into ARP next year. And like you said, we've maybe already gotten what we can get out of him, and we now have a bit more lefty, um, you know, options. And
The
then
other
out of the
thing,
minor leaguers, sorry, I
real
was just
quick, the
gonna,
other thing with Mitchell, we signed Akil Baddoo too. That's another left-handed
yeah,
outfielder. Not saying that's just another lefty bat in the outfield. That,
yeah,
anyways.
yeah, embarrassment of riches and those lefty outfielders
Yeah,
now.
right.
Um, in the minor league, I think the whole like Caro thing's just interesting. It doesn't seem like we trust him yet. I don't know how his shoulders, because I think he's injured both now, right? I don't know
Yeah,
how
I
his
think so.
defensive profile's held up because I know that was one of his calling cards, kind of, and I don't necessarily want to see him go, but I don't know. Maybe we're just playing it slow on purpose. We know we won't need him again, like as a full-time player for a couple years, but it seems like they'd at least listen on him. Maybe not. And you don't just want to toss catching prospects away because we don't have a ton in the pipeline necessarily behind Contreras now, other than Matt Wood. But I don't know if he's going to be an MLB player in the future. And then, like I said, there's a ton of guys down there, but I'm sure if anyone came knocking for Tyler Black, we would say yes because we clearly don't think Tyler Black is going to be a Brewer. So um, those we're kind of the guys that at least make a little bit of sense without going into, prospects that who I'm sure we'd trade prospects and I'm sure teams would take prospects, but I'm not going to speculate in that. So
The Caro talk is interesting, especially because we were just talking about it earlier with the Jonah Heim signing to the Braves and for 1.25 million. Obviously the Brewers did sign Reese McGuire to a minor league spring training camp. That's right, can't. Yeah. So there is that,
what are you
but
chuckling at?
you think that Caro like at this point with Reese McGuire, it's like, all right, if you're bringing him in for spring training or whatever, or to bridge the gap to Carroll until May or whatever, fine. But at this point, I kind of just want to see what Carroll is
Yeah.
because it's like, yeah, I don't know. I feel you guys are on the same page, but if not Carroll, I don't really want to see Reese McGuire. I wanted to see John Heim or someone else a little bit better, I guess, is my takeaway.
It
But
seems
yeah, it
like you
seems
just have
like
some like bias against Reese McGuire.
no,
Yeah,
I think
why are
he's
you
got a nice
kicking him to the
stroke.
parking lot, man? You haven't even seen him play yet.
I think he's got a nice stroke, and but but
Sorry,
yeah,
I was baiting you there. I'm sorry.
with
Jeez,
Carroll
man, don't blow your load.
with Carroll, I think that if he was such a defense first prospect, and that's how he got so hyped up, and then it's either between the shoulder thing or just in general, the defense must have fell off. I don't know. I don't know much about defensive catcher metrics in the minors, to be completely honest. But that seems like what happened, and it kind of was just like, oh, let's forget about him. I mean, he's only like 23 or 24, so it's not like it's the end of the road. But at this point,
I
I
think
think
he's
it's
still a
time
top
to
100
see what
guy,
he's
right?
got.
No, he's not, but he's right
Yeah,
outside. I think they said he was like next 10 on one of the lists. So
I don't think this is a guy that we're too worried about getting the super two out of him. I think let's just see what he's got. Let's plug him in. This is a backup catcher. Not going to start no matter what, as long as William Contreras is on this team. So yeah.
I agree. I want to see him at least make an impact. I would love to see him in the spring. Is he playing for somebody in the WBC? Is he one of our guys? That's
Caro?
No, he is
Yeah.
not, but I can list all the guys that are because I happen to write that down.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
hear it.
All right.
Yeah, might as well.
Nicaragua is C-Rod, Freddie Zamora, and a reliever who played in high A and double A last year for us, Steven Cruz, Stiven, so I might have mispronounced that. Venezuela is Churio, Contreras, and Zerpa. Team Canada is Rob Z and Tyler Black. Team Great Britain, a pair of relievers that played in low A and high A last year, Miles Langhorne and Jack Seppings. USA, Bryce Terang. Mexico, Joey Ortiz. The DR, Abner Uribe. And Team Italy is Mr. Fisher. Sorry, 14 guys, I think, within the org, which is that's cool. So
I feel
Brewers
like that's
fans,
a ton.
as it not that I need to tell you to watch the WBC, but there you could probably watch just about any game and be watching someone within our system. So it's a cool place for guys like Freddie Zamora had a 700 OPS in AAA last year, 353 OBP. Like he was okay. But you know, it's an opportunity for him to maybe show that he can compete at a higher level. So lots of guys to watch. Tyler Black, Team Canada. I hope he goes off.
I wish the Hebrew Hammer would have came out of retirement for one last
Oh,
run.
dear.
Anyways,
Um, World Baseball Classic, I believe, is March 6th through the 11th. Is That's what I have on my calendar. I don't know if that's just pool play or not, but either way, that first weekend you can watch baseball for like 4 or 5 days in a row from like 6 a.m. till 2 a.m. if you so please, because they got games going on, and I think the pools are Tokyo, Houston, Miami, and one of the Latin American countries, so that time zone. So, anyways, you can watch the Asian games, and then you can watch the um, North and South American games. Maybe I don't know. I got to figure out where that pool is. But anyways, you get the point. You can watch baseball all day, and you can see lots of Brewers.
And those World Baseball Classic games are like World Series games. Crowds, hopefully, I know in the Latin American countries go absolutely bananas. Tokyo is a great scene too. Interested to see. It's about the only time that Lone Depot Park is packed and jumping. So super, super excited to watch that. Those games are electric.
The fourth one is San Juan, Puerto Rico. So, not too far actually from
Bad
the Miami
Bunny.
pool. Yeah, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Canada, and Panama in that one. Nice. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
No Arizona
Um,
this year, so I wonder why they moved that one to Houston.
yeah, I think generally there's like two America ones and then one Latin America one and one Asia one. Like those are kind of the stipulations.
I
But I
think they
think
said the atmosphere in Phoenix last year for the Great Britain USA game was pretty low because there was a whole line of guys in the outfield that were like falling asleep while trying to
yeah,
watch the game. Did
yeah,
you hear about that, Scoop?
yeah. I think they said it was the best bachelor party of all time, is what they were calling it. But uh, yeah. So I think they'll like rotate between the Latin American countries, and then a lot of I think they even rotate sometimes through that one of the Asian countries. But I know it was Tokyo last time too, so I don't know what the reason is
I
there.
was gonna
But
say I feel like Miami gets it every time too, and I thought Arizona got it every
They've
single time. I feel like this is the first time it's in Houston unless I'm
they've probably
no,
done it in
because
like Seoul, right?
San
They probably did
Diego
it in
did.
South
yeah.
Korea.
So oh yeah, San Diego did have one. That was the Adam Jones catch.
I do think Miami. I do think Miami has it a lot. I think there's a lot of countries right in that region where they have the one in like Puerto Rico or one of those other countries around there, and then Miami. Just because, like, if you look at the pool, it's like Puerto Rico, Venezuela, Colombia. Like, I don't know. There's a bunch of them. So
Where's the final? Is it in Miami?
it's a good question.
I feel
I'll look
like
that up.
MLB owns it, so I feel like they always have it in the US. So it's
Was
either
it?
Miami or Houston.
Oh yeah, it's in Miami again, which it was last time too. So,
Yeah.
anyways, I mean, kind of makes sense to do it at MLB Park. Like you said, one, MLB owns it, and two, it's probably, besides maybe like the Tokyo Dome, it's probably one of the better venues. I don't know. I don't know much about the Miami Stadium, but
It's the only time they can open the upper deck there.
yeah.
No offense to my non-existent Miami Marlins fans, but
Other quick comments. I just wanted to say in the Scooble case, I feel like the Tigers kind of screwed a lot of baseball teams by lowballing him so much that a new precedent's been set. So the Pirates can expect to write quite the paycheck in the next couple years. And then speaking of the Pirates, on Fangraphs, their projection is more wins than the Brewers, just so you guys know. Just
Marcell
so you
Ozuna,
know.
Marcell Ozuna from the Pirates really moves the needle for
Yeah.
them.
He's a good guy. He replaced Kutch in the locker room. I'm sure they're going to fill a similar niche.
We should bring him home.
Kutch?
Yeah, him and Yelich
Hey,
can split time at DH.
he's the man.
Kutch is cool.
I wish we would have made the playoffs when he was a Brewer. That's heartbreaking for me.
You
Yeah, I
got
don't know.
any other closer, Scoop?
I don't think I got anything else to add. The Badgers just tied it with a three-pointer. If you guys are watching
Don't
there,
spoil
75
it.
rounds, 2 minutes to go. Why are we gonna release this before the Badger game starts?
Happy birthday, Brandon Woodruff. Thanks for
Yeah.
coming back.
Did we talk about the Hall of Fame at all? Did we talk about next year's eligible players? Coach Keane?
Ryan Braun was one and done. That makes me sad.
Yeah, I
That's all I
can't
need to know.
imagine why.
Yeah, he's a really likable guy, like in my community. Unless I'm missing something, he was franchise leader in home runs, retired at a young age. I think he's like what 31 hits away from 2,000. Lance Berkman type career, and Lance Berkman was on the ballot for more than a year, I believe. Could have given him the respect of 2 years, but no. Writers must have some sort of bias.
I
Oh,
Ridiculous.
okay.
think he was locker mates with Sean Markham.
Yeah,
If
Sean Markham really screwed him up there.
The writers they have something against him, man. Him and Barry Bonds, one and the same. Great players who just didn't get in. Roger Clemens, Rafael Palmeiro, Mark
I guess
McGuire, Sammy Sosa. These guys are just raw power.
I guess the last thing I'll say is and it's never changed, but fuck fanatics. It's always fuck fanatics. Some of these
I
like
re-
WBC prices, it's like
two
I
hundred
just I
dollars.
just saw one today. It was $50 for a jersey, and the estimated date it was ordered date was March 10th. So it's a month from now, and it's like when the event's over. That is ridiculous. They gotta figure it out. It can't be
They're
cheap and shitty and bad
Spider
customer.
batting gloves would never do something like
Pick one.
that.
Correct.
20% off using what code, Scoop?
The Scoop 15.
There
It's
you go.
15%, Kian.
Yeah.
Not 20.
Can't do 20.
Sorry.
Can't do 20.
Best
Other
we can do is
businesses
15.
I
Yeah.
work with are 20%, so we're
Well,
worse off, but we're not going to
yeah.
name those other businesses. But
All right. The Badgers got a minute left, guys. There's timeout.
Go Bucky, go Brewers, go Chinooks, go Bushwooks.
Yeah.
Donut Nation, donate to the Making Hunger Toast food drive. It ends February 28th.
Thank you, Caleb Durbin. And thank you, Monasterio, for that home run in the
Thank you,
14th
Mona.
win.
Thank you, Comp B Pick.
Anthony
Go Brewers.
Seigler. Brewers fans are excited you're gone. And it's not your fault. Not your fault.
Go Brewers.
He had great hair.